Alright, here's Kirby's Adventure. As you can see by the gold sticker on the back, this is a saving game. It has the save battery backup feature in it. Let's pop that in and play some of that. Alright, so here we go. This is Kirby's Adventure. As we can see, 1993 HAL Laboratory. This game is developed by HAL, published by Nintendo. And, 1993, like I said, that's pretty late for an NES game. And that shows. You can see there's the 3 save states. As I mentioned, this is a battery backup game, which is good. But, yeah, like I said, it's a really good looking game. Sort of like the last generation Nintendo game in 1993. This is, newer than Mario 3, newer than a lot of NES games. It's one of the later NES games. And, it's actually a 6 megabit cartridge, which doesn't sound like much. That's not even 1 megabyte. 1 megabyte is 8 megabits, in case you're wondering. But for an NES game, 6 megabits is up there. It's one of the biggest NES games. I don't think it's the biggest, but it's up there. It's one of the bigger NES cartridges. So definitely a cool game. Like I said, the first thing you'll notice is the graphics are cool, really nice colors and stuff. But basically, you fly around as this puffy Kirby. I don't know what the heck he's supposed to be. Marshmallow with wings. And, his special ability is basically his massive suction. He can suck in air to fly, and he can suck in enemies and steal their abilities, which is really the coolest thing of the game, is all the power-ups that you get. Here's one. Not him. No, a lot of the guys don't have any special powers. This guy will. He's got a fire, it looks like. So if you suck him in, you can steal firepower. Now you got your firepower. So there's a lot of really cool power-ups in this game, and that's definitely the main point of this game, is just all the cool power-ups that you have. There's a lot of little bonus games at the end of each level. How high you jump gets you points, and then in each world there's a bonus level, and they're all different. There's some really weird bonus levels, like here's the first one here, is this crane. It's like, these things you play when you're in a bowling alley or whatever, and you have to hold A and then you can let go of A, and that's all you can do. And you try and grab your Kirby. Now usually this one falls out, but I got lucky here and got that. And it gives you two extra men for getting the big one, so yeah. Yeah, here we go. Here's my second try. I go for the big one again. You can see the little one to the left, at the far left there, kind of hiding in with the popcorn. Yeah, the little ones are worth one life, and the big ones are worth 2. So, the game, I have to admit, is not very challenging. It's sort of easy. One thing I noticed is that the levels aren't very big. And I wonder if that has to do with the graphics, because I really think they pushed the graphics on the NES, and they may have had a pretty big limitation on the size of the levels, because a lot of the levels are not as big as they should be. But yeah, here's one of the first bosses, and a lot of the bosses are the same principle, sucking in what they throw at you, and then throwing it back at them, or using a power if you had a power. Which right now I don't have a power, but if you had firepower or something, you could just go up and hit him with the fire. But I love some of the colors, like I was saying here. The different shades of blue and red. It's definitely one of the best looking NES games out there, as far as I can tell. Let's again steal this guy's power. Now I got this beam power. And, it didn't last long. As soon as you get hit, you lose the power. You can get it back if you can suck in that little star that goes flying. But, so now I got the spark power. And, there really are a lot of cool power-ups in this game, which really makes it fun. If it weren't for that, the game would suck. Really, that's really like I said, the whole point of the game is just how we can take these other powers. Now, one thing that really surprised me about this game is this game came out in, let's see, it first came out in Japan, so that was November 1992, and then on the Famicom, of course. And then we got it December 1992, December 21st, so they really could have got that out a little earlier, so your parents had some time to get it for Christmas. But December 21st, that's a horrible time to come out, don't you think? And then finally Europe, February of 1993, so a little bit later in Europe. But the thing that surprised me the most about this game, and I didn't know, is that Kirby actually started on the Game Boy. You would have thought the NES one came first for sure, but actually the Game Boy one came out in 92. Early 92, I think. Or maybe 91, I can't remember. But the Game Boy one was called Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. And that was the first Kirby game ever. That was the first, introduction of the character Kirby. And then this one on the NES is actually his second game. Like I said, I would have just assumed that this one came out first, and then it got ported to the Game Boy. It's hard to imagine such a beautiful game, like color-wise. There's just so many bright, colors in this game. It's hard to imagine that they, imagine this on the Game Boy first, here's another boss, and once again, I'll just use my firepower on him. Definitely does the job. It's a lot quicker than waiting to suck the things it throws at you. So it's good if you have one of your power-ups when you hit a boss. And a lot of times they actually give you the chance to get a power-up. There'll be a few enemies you can eat before you get to a boss. Kirby's pretty cool. You're basically invincible. This is a weird power-up here. You turn into a wheel. It reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. You just spin and go through the level really fast. Basically run over anything that gets in your way. And the sword's it's the worst power-up ever. It has such a short range. It looks funny. See, now I sucked in a star and spit it out there. I do that a lot. But when you suck in the stars, you're actually getting the power. When you get hit and you lose your power, you got a chance to get it back. Another boss. Once again, I don't have a power-up, so we're going to basically suck in what he throws at you and throw it back at him. Like I said, a lot of the bosses are same idea there. This game is, of course, available on Wii Virtual Console, and I believe that came out in February 2007. I know the laser just makes you want to make those sound effects. And here's a really cool effect they did on the NES, is they almost made that look like it's 3D, the way that rotates when you walk on it. I thought that was pretty cool the first time I saw that. And one final power for you see is the ice power. You can turn guys into ice blocks and then use the ice blocks to hit things or jump off of.